Hello there, thrill seekers. Today, all day, I am going to be working on finishing my forthcoming book called The Other Side of Nothing. My publishers wanted me to turn it in last week, the final edited version. I sent it to them. I edit it myself, and then I send it to them, and they do an edit, and then it comes back to me, and then I check their edit and go over it. And then I send it back. Well, I was supposed to send it back last week, but I didn't get it done, so I'm getting it done today. Which is why I'm spending so much time doing this intro. Not really. I'm going to show you a video. I've been doing this for a while, doing old videos on Mondays. This video is from 2007, just like the video I put up on Friday, but this one has much better sound. And I am speaking at the Akron Public Library. I was invited there by Bob Ethington, and Bob Ethington and I both have the history of being parts of the punk rock scene in Akron, and then he went on to be the director of the Akron Public Library, and I went on to be me. So he invited me there in 2007 to give a talk, and I'm giving a talk in front of a bunch of the people I knew back in the old punk rock days in Akron, and a bunch of Akron people. And in this clip that I've excerpted, I am talking about Jesus. First I'm talking about Jesus, and then I'm talking more generally about the kind of religious aspects of Zen Buddhist practice. And I thought it made a nice little clip, and maybe some of you will enjoy it. And let's see what I look like. I also have very long hair and kind of look like Jesus, so it's kind of weirdly appropriate. So take it away, long-haired Brad from 2007.
And I don't have any problem with Jesus. And there's actually in Buddhism you don't really pray. There's certain rituals where you go down and you bow to a statue of Buddha, but you're actually kind of expressing your appreciation for what Buddha has done and given this practice, and kind of like that. I did try Christianity, especially because Jimmy at the time, I don't know, maybe you still are, but used to say you were a Christian, and I was like, wow, that's weird, punk rock Christian. I went to churches and things, but it always seemed like there was a tendency there to be pointing at, this is just my own personal impression, at something else, like over there, that's where the answer is, over there, when you die, or whatever. And I was kind of more interested in going, what's this I'm actually living through now? I want to see what this is. I want to go deeply into it. But one of the questions that came up when I was doing this interview for Scene magazine was, can a person be Christian or Jewish or Muslim and still do Zazen? Which is, the answer is yeah, you can. There's no reason not to. And there's no sort of element of belief in Buddhism. There's not anything like you must believe this and this and this and this and this. It's just look at your life and see what it is. And if you come to that with beliefs, then that's fine. And if you don't have any beliefs, that's also fine. So, yeah. I did look into it. In the back.
I took a bit of advice from your last book, and I Googled Zen in my city, and I found a temple, and I started going to this temple for sittings and stuff. And every time we go, and it's more of a Korean Buddhism, and so every time we go in, we bow to the statue 3 times, and then we sit for 45 minutes, and then after we get done, we chant the Heart Sutra. Mm-hmm. And I've always kind of just done that stuff because I was told to, and I was kind of wondering what you felt the importance of these traditions were.
Yeah, the bowing and chanting, I had 2 teachers, and neither of them were very into bowing and chanting. So we didn't do much of that. And I don't really know how to do, I can do a certain amount of bowing and chanting, I know a bit of it. But that was never really the focus. The focus was always on the Zazen practice. So I remember once talking to Nishijima about that, my teacher, my current Zen teacher, and he said, it's just a waste of time, He'll do a little bit of it just to kind of set an atmosphere, and that's kind of nice, but not much. So but I go, when I'm doing these talks and things, I get invited by Zen centers. In fact, I was invited to one, a Korean Zen center in Detroit earlier this year.
Was it Muddy Water Zen?
No, it was, what was it called? Still Point.
Oh.
Still Point. And those guys do 108 prostrations, full prostrations, which is you get down on the ground and go like this, 108 every morning, like one after another. And it's crazy. But then they do the Zen practice. So, I mean, there's a lot of different traditions out there, and I don't want to put anybody down, except to say that that's not the tradition that I practice. It's like almost completely free of it. So,
when you said you were talking to some of the Zen centers here, what is the difference in your mind between the Western Dharma, maybe that's here in the West, and what you were studying in Japan?
The differences? Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things. Because I was thinking about this recently. Because some people are saying like American Buddhism, like this is a word you hear sometimes or a phrase. And there's like two things you could call American Buddhism. One is American Buddhism is like what American people who are actually doing Buddhist practice do and think and whatever. And then there's this kind of other thing, it's this nebulous entity of American Buddhism, which is what Middle America, who has watched episodes of The Simpsons and Richard Gere movies, thinks is Buddhism. And that is like completely different things. But, so, I don't know. I mean, in the West, there's a lot of things, because I did half of my training, I don't know if you call it training, but I did half of it in Kent, Ohio, and half of it in Tokyo, So, in 10 years in Kent, 10 years in Tokyo. So so I got both sides in a way. And I think there's valid Buddhism in America. That you don't need to leave and go to another country to find it, and there's nothing more specifically more authentic if you go to Japan than there is. In fact, there's a lot of really crappy Buddhism in Japan and China and all these other places. So there's nothing specifically foreign about it. The only thing that bothers me is there's a certain get enlightenment now mentality to some of the American Buddhism I've seen, where they've read these books about Buddha getting enlightened and everybody else getting enlightened, and they're like, oh, we gotta get that now in 15 minutes, and then go shopping, whatever, I don't know what you're gonna do after you get enlightened, Something important, of course, I imagine. And so I don't like that, and there is a lot of that, but I don't know. I don't know that real practitioners are really seduced by that. That's more of a commercial thing.
So you sit Zazen every day?
Yeah.
You don't think it's boring anymore? Or?
It's boring. it's always boring. Yeah, every day it's boring. But there's a sense that boring things are actually very important, because if you actually look at your life, if you have a reasonably stable life, most of your life should be pretty boring, and you really want it boring. Because if everything's too exciting, it throws your mind and body into all kinds of places you don't really want to go. But most of us think that, oh, this is boring and bad. This is my job, and I'm washing the dishes or whatever you're doing. I hate washing dishes. That's why I always pick this as my favorite one. And you think that's boring, and then but the real things would be starting at 10 o'clock. Actually, at 10 o'clock you can go down to the matinee and see Zero Defects play tonight. But he mentioned that before, right? Okay, good. So please come. We'll be doing that. Drop the A-bomb. So. But anyway, you think that the exciting things are like, you tend to focus your life, or your life as far as your mind is concerned, tends to be focused on these exciting moments, when really that's just a very, very small fraction. So if you focus on that, you're missing your life. And that's what kind of bothers me. And the good thing about the boredom of Zen practice is that you're focusing on boring stuff. And you find that when you're doing boring stuff, like raking the leaves or whatever it is, you're not wandering away from it, because this is like your real life. Raking these leaves is my real life, and I'm not thinking about going off and seeing Zero Defects at the matinee or whatever it is. You're actually like there in that real whatever it is you're living. So I think boredom is good.